Hey friends! Welcome to my channel. If you are new, my name is Carrie Favel, but online I go by Cypress. I'm a voice actress and an entertainer. So if you are at all entertained by this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Today we will be discussing conferences as a whole and voiceover conferences specifically to determine why they exist, what makes them popular, and if they are worth attending. But before we begin, I would like to make a few clarifications. First, I do not take this topic lightly, nor is it my intention to speak poorly of anyone who attends or participates in these conferences. I am simply giving my honest opinion, as many other voice talents have. Second, I will be focusing on VO Atlanta, not because that conference is an outlier in any way, but because it is a local event to me. I again mean no disrespect to those who are involved with VO Atlanta, and the conference can be interchanged with any other out there for any of the critiques that I mention. I'm just using them as an illustration or example when I give statistics and that sort of thing. So let's begin with a short description of what I'm talking about, just to make sure we're all understanding the concept. A conference, as defined by the Oxford Dictionary, is a formal meeting for discussion. Community Toolbox explains further that a conference is a gathering of people with a common interest or background, with the purposes of allowing them to meet one another and to learn about and discuss issues, ideas, and work that focus on a topic of mutual concern. According to Federally Employed Women's National Training Programs article in 2015, training programs primarily focus on providing tools and information needed to excel you in your career. Attendees take what they've learned and apply it in their careers. Conferences, on the other hand, focus on providing valuable information and garnering support. And just for semantics' sake, Bloomerang explains, a convention is a gathering of individuals to discuss a certain topic or participate in activities related to a shared interest or field. Conventions are often held to bring business or industry professionals together to discuss important issues or topics in their field. So all three concepts, conferences, training programs, and conventions, are closely related, but the nuance is a key distinction, and I think you'll see this play a larger part in some of the points that I make later on, so just keep this in mind. Chances are you've heard of pop culture events such as Comic-Con, Dragon-Con, and so forth. These are conventions. They are casual gatherings to discuss hobbies and other topics of interests. Conferences really are the same thing, but from a formal perspective. Many careers with specialized training are required to keep up with their knowledge with continual education. And an easy way to do so is to attend seminars that provide these officially approved and regulated learning opportunities. For example, nurses are required to complete 30 hours of continuing education every 2 years. These are called CEs or CEUs. Conferences assist these medical professionals in getting these CEUs, which are a requirement to keep their license, by attending their events. Fun fact, as a marketing manager, I had to help set up a booth for my employer at such an event. And it's really cool seeing the dealer's room that instead of Funko Pops and plushies, there are all these medical equipment. It was really neat to see. Likewise, lawyers need to earn 12 credits of CLEs, or continuing legal education, including 1 credit of ethics, 1 credit in professionalism, and 3 trial credits, although those are only required for trial attorneys. I actually, again, had the pleasure of attending a part of one of these conferences as I was assisting with running another booth. This time I was a production assistant, though, because we didn't have a marketing department. And again, the seminars really are run just like an anime convention or another pop culture convention, just with a much more serious topic. It really is fascinating. Voiceover does not have such requirements. In fact, you don't even need any sort of certificate or degree to pursue this career. In addition, from my understanding, no field in the entertainment industry requires such a renewal of education. So you can see how conferences are not all created equally. Some have legitimate, legally required perks to attend. But for voiceover conferences, no such reason exists. Now that we know what conferences are and why they are held, let me introduce VO Atlanta briefly. Once again, this event is being used as an example. Other conferences have their own unique stories, but I wanted to keep this video as concise as possible, because you know your girl likes to ramble. Voiceover Atlanta Conference, or VO Atlanta for short, got its start in 2013 when Gerald Griffith, the CEO of Big Deal Voiceover and a successful voiceover professional himself, gathered a group of about 550 like-minded people to share their stories, experiences, and give advice to each other. He wanted to create a platform for people looking to become successful voice actors in the voiceover industry. The conference quickly became known as a sharing and caring community where everyone feels love and support from their peers and is now hailed as being the biggest event of its kind in the industry. VO Atlanta is now owned by Anna and J. Michael Collins as of 2023, when Gerald Griffith decided to step down. Collins also runs One Voice Conference, as well as the Euro VO Retreat. So it's fair to say VO Atlanta is a great representation of what you can expect from any voiceover conference, since quite a few are related to each other. Okay, now that I think we have the foundation properly set, I think it's time to start adding bricks to this thesis house. Does that analogy work? Regardless, let's take a few key points to determine if non-specialized training conferences are worth attending. Note that I have conducted this research over a course of a few years, starting in 2018, to help paint a better visual. The cost to attend the full weekend, meaning from Thursday to Sunday, of VO Atlanta in 2018 was $547. In 2019, it inflated to $575. Obviously, COVID hit in 2020. I honestly lost track of the conference until this year, 2023, when the full weekend cost was back to $549. Back in 2018, the convention started on Thursday at 9 a.m. and ended Sunday at 10 a.m., although the closing session technically ended at noon. In 2019, official admission started on Thursday at 3 p.m., and the last event ended Sunday at noon. This year, 2023, the registration started Thursday at 2:30 p.m., with closing ceremonies ending at 1 p.m. on Sunday. So essentially, it is $550 for 3 days, since Sunday is a very short day, and for the most part, Thursday is a half day as well. In 2018, VO Atlanta was hosted in the Renaissance Airport Hotel. This year, it was hosted at the Hilton Atlanta Airport Hotel. In contrast, DragonCon, a convention also held in Atlanta, sold tickets at $115 in 2018 and $155 for this year, as of checking April 2023, and runs officially from Thursday a.m. to Monday late afternoon. It is hosted in 6 hotels located in downtown Atlanta. None of the above pricing includes the hotel stay, travel, food, etc. Both events offer guest speakers, as that is one of the main reasons people attend. I will note that VO Atlanta, as well as DragonCon, does sell one-day-only event tickets, but those sit just below a $400 mark, and they also have a virtual conference experience, but that removes all the key points we are about to go over to attend. So, sure, drop $100 on the virtual experience and watch some webinars. That's cool, but that's really not what we're talking about here. But, you might contest, DragonCon is for hobbies, while VO Atlanta is for your career. Doesn't that make a difference? Certainly. Which brings me to my second point. VO Atlanta is geared very much towards the beginner who has not yet even made a demo. The tracks consist of seminars from industry professionals covering topics that can be easily Googled, seen on YouTube, or reviewed in a one-on-one session. Conjecture, you shout? Here are some session or workshop titles that were offered in 2018. Home Studio Acoustics for Today's Voiceover Professional. Recording Session Setup and Manuscript Preparation. How to Self-Direct VO Sessions. What makes a great demo reel? Tips to starting your voiceover career. How to grow your voiceover income in just 30 minutes. The list goes on, but my point is made. For the record, I am not saying that these panels are not worth your time. They are. How incredibly helpful. But I've personally already gone to these seminars and studied with vocal coaches. And frankly, that last example of growing your income sounds like a clickbait article. Maybe that means I should attend because I've always been told there is no easy answer. Success comes from hard work and persistence. My point being, if you are going to pay $500 for information, shouldn't you expect to receive personalized feedback? Which brings me to the third point. I once went to a very small conference that literally only had one panel run per hour. All 20-plus attendees stayed seated while the new guest speaker came and told us valuable information. This conference was about FX makeup and adding electrical mechanisms into costumes, just for clarification. Even still, I spent the entire day writing notes until my hand crammed. My notes looked like chicken scratch, and I was more overloaded with all this new information. I wasn't quite sure where to start with it all. That's my personal fear in regard to a VO conference. Any of them, not VO Atlanta specifically, because I truly do believe there is relevant information to me that would help me grow my career for certain. But I would be frozen in what-if fear the entire time. What if I went to Panel A when Panel B would have been more helpful? What if I already know all of this information and it's just redundant? Or even worse, what if it all goes over my head and I am left in a pool of self-doubt with no one to throw me a life raft? At least in a one-on-one session, you can be given a truth bomb and then have someone help you find the steps to survive. And this wouldn't be such an issue if the cost was even halved what they're asking. But with such a high fee, I would consistently wonder, am I getting my money's worth? So VO Atlanta boasts that they have 700-plus attendees and 200 scheduled session hours. Pretty impressive stuff. The main selling point of the convention is to learn, after all. See what it is you need to do in order to succeed. I am not being sarcastic when I say that's fantastic. So, of the 200 scheduled session hours, there are more than 50 unique workshops. These workshops are called X sessions. They are 3 hours long and have very limited availability. Very limited, as in a cap-off of about 12 or so. I counted 55 X sessions being offered at VO Atlanta 2019. 11 on Thursday, 21 on Friday, and 23 on Saturday. An important note is that these X sessions are not included in the general admission ticket price and cost between $197 and $237. Here is a screenshot sampling from the 2018's conference. Now, again, these X sessions are completely optional, so you do not need to purchase them. However, 55 of the 200 scheduled session hours do have additional fees attached. That's 1/4 of the listed convention events. Those who did not pay for the general admission can still purchase an X session for the same listed price of the $200. Although VO Atlanta attendees get dibs on the events, you could potentially simply purchase an X session without attending anything else. Now let's discuss how many of those 145 hours you can logistically attend, starting at 8 a.m., at least for Friday and Saturday, and going to the last session that is not a social event. Note that I am not counting the morning warm-ups, X sessions, or considering any session to be longer than 1 hour in the below calculations. Also, I am using 2008 when the convention started at 9 a.m. on Thursday, and not just open for registration at 3 p.m. For the record, there were only X sessions and laughter yoga on Sunday of the 2023 conference. So the 2018 schedule is actually more generous to conferences as a whole, which is why I'm utilizing this information. Possible hours: Thursday, 5.5 hours. Friday, 11 hours. Saturday, 11.5 hours. Sunday, 4 hours. For a total of 32 working hours, which again is roughly 1/4 of the event you are capable of attending, assuming you were able to go into an event every hour on the hour without taking any breaks during the day and skipping lunch. That's actually great if you think about it. About 30 events, realistically more like 15, that you can attend for $575. That means each event will cost an average of $38 each. Most coaching sessions are more like $200 for an hour, so that does save you a bit. Please consider for a moment what this really entails. Forgive me if my bias shows here, but I want you to look at this from a pragmatic standpoint just for a moment. Humans are not great at retaining information. After 1 hour, people retain less than half of the information presented. Quote, learners forget 70% of what they learn within 24 hours. End quote. We actually need continual training with quizzes to truly benefit from learning. Going from one 60-minute session into the next with a half-hour breather in between isn't ideal unless you took copious notes during the session and can review your notes between presentations to ensure there are no holes in what you wrote down so you can self-study when you return home. But if you're walking through the hotel with new networking buddies and you need to use the restroom or grab something to drink, how likely are you to sit down with the material you just learned? In fact, most of these sessions will be high-level overview, in other words, beginner-friendly. This is helpful because it will be easier to retain the information gathered. But it also means that if you took a previous course on the subject, you more than likely will already know the information presented. I have taken several pre-recorded sessions at $30, which allow me to pause and write accurate notes. Now, can you also access the virtual portion of the conference after the fact? Sure, potentially. But be honest with yourself. How likely are you going to go back and rewatch a course or find one that you missed after an exhausting weekend that just passed? But then, if you're like me and are leaning towards virtual only, what about the camaraderie? Certainly, that is a valid point. It's better to learn in person and in a group or a demonstration. But practice over time is the biggest factor. Regardless of how you retrieve the information, you must keep up with it. One last note on this topic: discussion panels. And please don't confuse seminars with discussion panels. Seminars are more like lectures with a time for Q&A at the end. Discussion panels are usually open floor conversations with a few starting questions already picked out for the host or hosts to discuss. I have gone to several conventions every year for over 10 years, and every time I have found discussion panels only ever beneficial if I know little to very little about the topic. I have been in voiceover panels with successful voice actors, and the majority of the questions asked were those one could find the answer to via a simple Google search. Consider every discussion panel an intro to. And if you know enough about voiceover to go to VO Atlanta, you probably know everything that will be discussed in that panel. Because, again, good presenters are taught to give a high-level overview so they don't overwhelm their audience. Networking and marketing. 2 pillars of a successful voiceover career. It's true. Since this conference is a networking opportunity, this should be a free point worth attending, right? Well, don't be too sure. For one, paying $550 to mingle seems a bit steep. And also, who are we really mingling with? Don't get me wrong, talking with fellow voice actors is extremely helpful. I am in no way saying networking or speaking with others in the industry is a bad thing. But how can it really help grow your career? Anecdotes are fun. Advice is helpful. But can they offer you a spot on their favorite agent's talent roster? Are they going to walk you through your marketing techniques and make sure you stay focused on your cold calling? Mingling is great, but not career building. I can speak to fellow actors until I'm blue in the face, but they can't usually get me auditions. So really, what can they do in person that they cannot do via email, Skype, or a Facebook group? Studies have shown that most voiceover talent are introverts. So I guess it's good practice for talking with clients and agents, if nothing else. Simply put, networking with fellow VO talent is not a great way to market yourself. Don't get me wrong, networking with fellow talent is great for companionship. After all, it is a lonely career, but they can't get you work. And it's inaccurate to imply that you can expect any business growth from meeting your peers. Yes, some people have said that they get work through referrals from colleagues. But I have to wonder if those colleagues were fellow entry-level voice talents that were met while sitting next to each other in a seminar, or if they were successful full-time voice actors who were introduced to each other online and later met in person. This is just speculation. I've not seen any polls answering this question: how much of your work comes from referrals? How many of those referrals were from colleagues? I know in other businesses, referrals are everything. And I have heard talent, such as Rob Paulson on his podcast Talking Tunes, state that he has provided names of his peers when he felt he himself was not right for a role. So it does happen, and I do not want to give the impression that it does not. But if you only have a few hours a night to mingle, what are the chances you are going to select the handful of talent out of a pool of 700 plus that will listen to your demo and add you to their own roster? Granted, I think we all have a list of talented friends whom we would pass along if given the opportunity. I know I have one that is not just full of VO talent, but others in the creative field as well. But how well can you really get to know someone at a convention versus building a rapport with someone over time? And it's not just me who feels this way. Several talented coaches and professionals in the industry have stated that we spend too much time connecting with fellow talent and not enough time connecting with actual clients. As Marc Scott put it, who is in your network? Have you ever considered it? Examined it? Voice actors love to connect with voice actors. I have hundreds, maybe thousands of them in my networks. LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all of them. That's fine. Good. I enjoy being connected. However, when it comes to building a network that's going to grow your business, where is the work coming from if you're only connecting with other VOs? The network that is going to grow your business is a network filled with leads, prospects, and clients. If those aren't the people you're connecting with, now's the time to start. Now, yes, there are other people attending who aren't just talent, such as casting site representatives, casting directors, and agents. But think about it for just a moment. They were paid to host panels on how to better your chances at being cast, potentially lead a workshop or two, and they'll of course take a few questions. They are there for their knowledge, not networking. I'm sure they would not appreciate having near 700 people bum rush the stage to introduce themselves and pass on their demos. Maybe the dozen or so who can get into their X session. Is that going to be you? Let me share a personal experience. I went to a local studio that was hosting a very well-known VO agent. I will not name this person as that is not relevant. They were very charming and I thoroughly enjoyed the seminar. They seemed open to receiving demos from the group, and at the end, an unsurprising crowd formed around this person. I decided not to introduce myself afterwards. Perhaps that was my mistake. But upon visiting the agent's website to submit my demo, I saw that they were actually not open for new talent. I decided to ignore this fact, since they seemed open to receiving our demos, and submitted mine anyway, letting the agent know I attended the seminar. I did not hear back from them. I even name-dropped a mutual friend who I've worked with. That apparently did nothing. Perhaps you might think me jaded by this incident. I consider myself realistic. That seminar had between 20 to 30 people, and I could not get an audience with the agent. How many people will be in VO Atlanta's panels? What is the likelihood you will be able to win an audience with one of the casting directors without looking like an overzealous fanboy? Is the advice of successful professionals and casting directors valuable? Yes, I am not suggesting otherwise. But would you get more out of a one-on-one 3-hour session with Bob Burgeon for $772? That's the $775 ticket plus the $197 X session fee. Or signing up for his 8-week course for $1,000. Yes, that course is only available in LA and when he travels, but that's also just an example. Many of these guests have also been interviewed and co-hosted a few podcasts discussing the very topic they will be reviewing at the conference. If you are paying for the experience, I think you will thoroughly enjoy it. But if you are investing in this networking opportunity with the hopes that you will book a promising venture, I think you'll come away disappointed. I want to point out that the conference offers the attendees several seminars on how to properly audition, and I do believe there are a few open panels that allow you to audition in front of the group, if you're selected, of course. You are also provided with a chance to have an audition with the guest agents who attend. Wonderful, right? Well, no. You see, only the first 100 people who sign up for that particular panel will be heard, which means one lucky person could sign up for all the agents who are attending, while many others will have paid $500 for an awkward, "ooh, just missed the cutoff" apology. Now, truth be told, I have heard success stories from being added to rosters this way, and I want to wish those a genuine and hearty congratulations. But I am left with the impression that it is simply just a hefty gamble, and essentially paying for the chance to audition. Okay, I'm not about to knock having a good time. One of my favorite things to do at events is the socializing. I am horrible at dancing, but that doesn't stop me. But in 2018, VO Atlanta listed socializing as a separate perk to attending, and I have to wonder, in the realm of this conference, how exactly is socializing different from networking? Literally, remove the networking title and the description is very much the same. Quote, "You are sure to discover a lot of great people in the voiceover community," and, quote, "connect and expand your network." Now, this verbiage has since changed, and it's a subjective idea. There is no way to accurately measure the worth of socializing. They have a mixer/hangout/party every night except Sunday. So 3 social gatherings is roughly $192 a night. That's about as much calculation as I can do on that. People pay $200 for a concert or other event all the time, so this sounds realistic. Although, keep in mind, there's usually no headliner at these mixers. And I will say that burnout happens a lot with the self-employed. It's hard to separate work from play, and it's good to kick back and relax every once in a while. Spending a few $100s on a mini vacation sounds totally worthwhile. If this is your main reason for going, or want to go, then that's awesome. Because you understand what you will be getting out of it. Companionship, friendship, community. not a dubious claim that it will advance your career if attended in just the right way. So, those are the key points that I have chosen to discuss to determine if attending a voiceover conference is worthwhile. Certain experiences and opportunities seem to be worth it, but this feels like just another way for industry professionals to get paid, truthfully. Buy my How to Grow Your Business in 12 Easy Steps book and meet me in person at this conference. More power to them. They're not lying when they say they are successful. It just doesn't feel like it's the best use of that money. The investment feels arbitrary. Now, again, what I just said is controversial, so let me just clarify. I completely respect the attendees of these conferences, and those who run the panels truly inspire me. I mean no ill will when I highlighted these critiques as to why I do not attend and why I can't really recommend others to attend. If I am ever at a point in my career where I can easily spend $550 on a networking party, I honestly would attend VO Atlanta. I'm heartbroken that I can't meet those I speak with online in person. It would be so fun to hang out, all the while representing the Atlanta talent pool. But for now, I would rather purchase a few one-on-one coaching sessions and a Business Management 101 book or two. And that's the dichotomy, isn't it? This conference is aimed at newbies looking to get into the business, but only those who are already successful can really go and enjoy themselves. I think you can see where my main issue comes from with how VO Atlanta brands itself. It states that it's a great way to build your career, but that doesn't seem accurate. Instead, it helps you build on the foundations of your career. You are not going to get an agent or book a gig. You are going to learn applicable advice and obtain valuable information that you can then expound upon outside of the convention. And I think that's great in itself, truly. But there's still one more thing that rubs me the wrong way. Look, I know that this conference is a business venture. I'm not about to judge or fault those involved for wanting to make a profit. And I also know that it costs money to rent the venue, book the guests, hire the caterers, etc. That isn't cheap. In my research of similarly sized industry conventions, I found that the total cost of a 4-day conference in Atlanta is around $250,000 to $300,000. Sponsors tend to donate between $3,000 to $15,000, and there were other options to, for example, pay for the lanyards or advertise their name on them, etc. And exhibitors pay around $1,500 for their booth space. Registration is usually the biggest contributor towards revenue. An estimation of VO Atlanta ticket sales based off of 2019, $575 to 700 people, is $402,500. That is around $100,000 net revenue on the low end, considering this does not factor in the sponsors, exhibitors, and ex-session fees. I'm sure they balance out whatever taxes I might have forgotten. But I also know, because I too network with fellow talent, that this convention is aimed mostly at the beginner VO. Despite what they may say, you know that is true. Advanced VO wouldn't need to know how to get representation or how to do a decent audiobook narration. Sure, there's always something new to learn. I say that all the time. But I'm pretty sure the professional talent out there know how to make it work and who to go to learn new skills. No, this convention is aimed at those who work a full-time day job and want to break into the voiceover industry. Maybe they are booking, and maybe it's even regularly, but they're still not getting those high-dollar gigs. They're spending every extra dollar they have investing in their dream of voiceover. And they're being told that dropping half the cost of a new demo on an event will be a worthy investment. And truthfully, I'm not sure that's the case. In Gabrielle Nestico's book, How to Set Up and Maintain a Better Voiceover Business, she states, quote, allocate 5 to 10% of all your voiceover earnings into your marketing fund, end quote. Just before that, she talks about not rushing into equipping your studio with expensive high-end gear just because you want it. Quote, before making any purchase, ask yourself, is this going to help me book more work? If the answer is no or maybe, look for a better option, end quote. If you easily have the funds to go hang out with the community for a weekend, go. But if you're budgeting for every decision you make, don't be misguided into splurging on a fun getaway. One final note on the reason for attending. In 2019, VO Atlanta very graciously provided an attendee demographics chart on their website. On it, we can see that 43% are full-time talent, with 27% being part-time and 29% getting started. Since part-time would infer that that attendee has a main source of income that is not voiceover, I would then assume getting started are the folks who have not yet gotten a coach or a demo made. It's an interesting choice to invest in a conference to learn more about a career before obtaining more information elsewhere. It's almost as though they think they can launch their career by attending this convention. Sorry for the sass. Regardless of my interpretation, statistically, 56% of those attending VO Atlanta are looking for ways to break into the business. There is an argument I've seen that attending conferences like this keeps successful VO talents in the loop of relevant topics, and that certainly is a valid aspect. But more than half of the event is not aimed at them. It's geared towards those who are desperate for direction and eager for the secret to fast success. Intentions of the Voiceover Conference members aside, there is one other item I wish to touch on. VO Atlanta gives professionals the opportunity to be a presenter. Based off the website submission form, it does not seem to have any financial benefits, i.e., they aren't paid to speak. However, they are able to sign up to host an X session, so it is possible they receive that additional fee as their payment. This could explain why there is an additional fee for those X sessions, as $200 each is comparable to year-round workshop events with certain coaches. As of the 2019 verbiage, if the presenter is selected, they are, quote, expected to promote the conference, their participation in the conference, and their sessions, end quote. Meaning the blog posts from affluent members of the community praising the convention, such as Paul Strickwerda, are required. Quote, as a former journalist, I had to report on lots of conferences. From that, I learned two things. 1, most of these gatherings are a snooze fest. 2, the speakers are unapproachable and leave as soon as they've collected their checks. Everyone who's ever been to VO Atlanta will tell you that this event is the complete opposite. It is engrossing and entertaining, and all presenters are accessible during the entire conference. There are no industry secrets and no oversized egos, just people who want you to succeed. In conclusion, the issue isn't about spending time with the community. It's about weighing the potential against the investment. $550 is more than the annual membership to most P2P sites. It's just under half of the cost of a professionally produced demo. It's a decent start to an advertising budget for your business. It's 1 or 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with customized advice to your career personally. Will you book work from this convention? Will you learn information vital to the foundations of your business? Can you find this information through cheaper outlets or one-on-one options? No one wants to sit out of a fun party, to be that kid who has to admit, my mom says I can't go. But at the same time, we must ask ourselves, is this a good investment in my career at this time? For me, no. I think there are better avenues for gaining knowledge and better uses for that money. I was going to talk about my experience volunteering at VO Atlanta 2023, but I feel that would be more gossip than anything. So if you're curious for that insight, comment down below, and if I get a decent like/response ratio, I'll make a follow-up tell-all. But for now, thank you for watching. Remember that you are loved, you are worthy, and whatever you are struggling with today will pass. Until next time, stay crazy!
It's coming! Don't miss the biggest voiceover conference this side of Pucker Brush, Nevada. Yes, that's a real place. It's ScamCon 2018. Held at the beautiful and secure Happy Fun Time Motel and Conference Center, you'll enjoy 2 days of exciting voiceover panels covering everything from where you should sit to what you should wear. There'll be special sessions covering how to get to a recording session.
I usually drive a car.
You'll meet top voiceover agents.
I'm a top voiceover agent.
And you'll learn how to create characters.
If you want to create characters that are really on point, you need to actually become the animal itself. Bow, wow.
You'll also learn voiceover techniques like how to change your voice.
Does it sound different now?
In between sessions, you can visit our luxurious gift shop and pick up a commemorative fur coat that's been outlawed in 48 states. But wait, thanks to this year's wonderful sponsors, there's more. You'll receive a goodie bag stuffed full of crap you'll never read. Plus a 3-minute coaching session with this man. He'll be discussing your career and mic placement here, 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 and you can even place a microphone here. My personal favorite is here. And don't miss this special session on how to set up your home studio. Extra charge of $799 applies. So remember to bring plenty of cash because everyone will have their hands in your pockets at ScamCon 2018. Don't worry, you can afford it. After all, it's only your career.
ScamCon. I know where I'm going to be.
ScamCon 2018 not responsible for damage occurring to body, limb, voice ability, career, or lack of career. No refunds without the express consent of someone we know you can't get a hold of. 2 water bottle minimum for all registrants may be upgraded to equal or less value water. Free wireless isn't really free, and registrants hold ScamCon harmless when you can't go online, get pissed off, and throw your electronic device. Most areas of the motel require extra fees, including but not limited to hallway, bathroom, closet, stairs, and lobby area. Registrants may not leave their rooms except to pay for additional sessions. ScamCon reserves the right to not have a conference if we can't talk enough people into it, but we're hoping we can. Member FDIC or parents put it together.